Hare Krishna, Adarsh Prabhu, how are you?
Hare Krishna, Hare
Thank you for your enthusiasm for conducting this course.
Krishna.
I'm audible?
Yes, yes, bro.
Okay, we will start now. We will not wait much because the time is already being mentioned twice by our Adarsh Prabhu. 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Okay, so we are starting this glorious book today. After a long time of your await, like you must be waiting when Bhagavad-Gītā will start. NOI in Ishopanishad has been over now. Most of the verses and most of the lectures you must have heard from Gita only. It gives us the very basic of our philosophy, and whatever conclusions which are presented in Gita can be actually learned and can be recited and can be like when you want to convince someone to become devotee, or you want to understand what is the material nature and how does it works and how this correlation between different energies of the Lord is there. So Gita answers all those things. You must have heard in many of the conversations and other lectures that how Gita presents a very basic foundation, which is very much necessary to understand Bhagavatam and further Chaitanya Charitamrita. So yes, it will provide a basic philosophy, but this basic philosophy is not much known to many people. So yes, after understanding Gita, you might find it basic. But while learning Gita, it will be like little heavy also sometimes, because many of the concepts we must be reading out or we must be hearing first time in the Gita course only. And some of the verses are very much repeated, and yeah, those verses will also come which will able to see how their connections are there in the Gita. So let's start this Bhagavad Gita course. Thank you all for your patience and joining today. I hope others will also join because this Gita course is important. Bhakti Shastri, two books are very much important, NOD and Bhagavad-Gītā. Other two books which are Ishopanishad and NOI are little smaller books and can be read, but Bhagavad-Gītā, if you want to read, it takes a lot of time. So better if we can attend these sessions on regular basis. Next week on Friday, there is Gaur Purnima. So I hope you all will be also celebrating Gaur Purnima at your different temple locations. And we also will be celebrating in GB. So next week, Friday, there will be no sessions. And next to next week, that is like 25th or 26th, I'm actually traveling. I'm going somewhere out. So 2 weeks we will not be having. After today, we will be having after today's session, we will be having the session after 2 weeks. So we'll begin today. Let's cover up introduction and some Mahatmya of Gita, and let's see if we can cover some verses also. So Prabhupada, in the beginning of Gita, he dedicates this book to Baldev Vidyabhushan. Last time in the NOI session, we discussed who is Baldev Vidyabhushan. He's a disciple of Shiksha, disciple of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And he was sent to Jaipur when he wrote that famous Govinda Bhashya commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And he made Gaudiya Vaishnavism as a proper sampradaya by presenting commentary on Vedanta Sutra, which is Govinda Bhashya. Then he wrote a commentary on Gita, which is called Gita Bhushan, and then commentaries on Upanishads. So in this way, Prabhupada also dedicates this commentary of his Bhagavad-Gītā as it is to Baldev Vidyabhushan. If I have any credit, who is saying this? Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada in the introduction, he says, if I have any credit in this connection, it doesn't belong to me personally, but it is due to my eternal spiritual master, his divine grace, Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. So Prabhupada remembers his spiritual master instructions and how his spiritual master inspired him to write books in English language and spread this knowledge of Krishna consciousness everywhere. So very humbly he writes in this introduction. I don't have any credits. It's all credit goes to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. If personally I have any credit in this matter, if at all there is some credit, it is only that I have tried to present Bhagavad-Gītā as it is without any adulteration. Prabhupada is saying I am presenting it without any adulteration. Before any presentation of Bhagavad-Gītā as it is, almost all English editions of Bhagavad-Gītā were introduced to fulfill someone's personal ambition. That's why people write commentaries. Some novelists and some scientists, some philosophers, they try to twist the meanings of Gita as per their own understanding. They don't refer to any acharya, how acharyas are presenting Gita in their commentaries. So this Prabhupada says that if any credit goes to me, is this only that I am presenting this Gita as it is, without any adulteration. And we have heard a famous pastime also when Prabhupada was in the West, and many others, they approached and they read Prabhupada's Gita. And they said, what you have presented in Gita, there is nothing new in Gita. Whatever you are presenting in Gita and telling us as it is, all of this content has been presented by previous acharyas also. You have just translated the content. So Prabhupada started laughing. He says, this is not criticism. This is actually a glorification, because you are saying that I am writing these books based on previous acharyas. That is a glorification for me, and it's a good thing that I have my work is successful because I am presenting as it is. Whatever Krishna spoke, whatever was the desire of the acharyas, I am just presenting those things only. So he has translated these books based on the desire of Krishna, whatever Krishna desires to promote through this book. So in this way, Prabhupada is saying. But our attempt in presenting Bhagavad-Gītā as it is to present the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So there are some videos on internet where people say that Prabhupada has not presented literary. It's a not Bhagavad-Gītā as it is of Srila Prabhupada of ISKCON is not a literary translation of Gita. Word-to-word meanings and exact points which Krishna is mentioning at that point of time, Prabhupada is not presenting the same. But Prabhupada here says our attempt in presenting Bhagavad-Gītā as it is to present the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There might be some translations or some purport points which might not directly or literally answer whatever Krishna, whatever at that point of time Krishna is speaking. But yes, whatever Prabhupada writes is to present the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that Krishna also many times in the Bhagavad-Gītā, in the end of the chapter, he tells what his mission is and what his desires is. That Krishna tells in the end of every chapter. So Prabhupada, taking that essence of the chapter, he presents that essence in every location. So sometimes people who don't have devotion in heart, they have just a scholarly presentation, or they are averse to the culture of Krishna consciousness. They sometimes say that it's not a literary translation. It might not be literary, but the essence is presented in such a way that mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is accomplished. Any comments till now?
You said
Our
in
business is
the end
yes,
of
bro.
every chapter, Krishna said, "What's the mission of Krishna?" Saying this chapter.
Yeah, you will see when we will be covering those chapters. You will see by the end of the chapter, Krishna will present an opinion in such a way that his desire will be expressed. Prabhupada says our business is to present the will of Krishna. There is something a person might say at different location, at different circumstances, but that might not be the will of a person. The will of a person is found generally in the beginning or at the end of the conversation. If a conversation gets over, then a person says that I want actually this to happen. So in the same way only, you will see in a lot of chapters, the whole chapter will present a viewpoint of like yoga or jnana. But the end of the chapter, you will see that Krishna will present his will, what he personally desires from a person who is practicing different yogas. So that we will see when we will be covering different chapters. So Prabhupada says our business is to present the will of Krishna, not that of any mundane speculator like a politician, philosopher, or a scientist. For though they have very little knowledge of Krishna, despite all their other knowledge. So they might be having a scholarly understanding, or they might be having a Sanskrit grammar education, but they don't have any love towards Krishna. They don't have any knowledge who Krishna in Tattva is. They might discuss philosophies based and sitting on a table where drinking is going on. So politicians, they might think Krishna was a great politician. This tactic he applied here and there, but they don't actually understand who Krishna is in Tattva. So they can't understand Tattva of Krishna, then they can't understand the will of Krishna, what Krishna personally desires from a devotee. So that Prabhupada says that our desire and our business is to in line with Krishna's desire and present the whole Bhagavad-Gītā accordingly. This is very important to understand because in many locations you will see that Prabhupada will give the essence in the translation only. He might not wait for Krishna's instruction in the end because people have very short memories. They might not read the whole chapter only. So Prabhupada will present in each and every purport and some in few lines only he will present the essence of the entire Gita repeatedly everywhere. So when Krishna says Mana Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, this is spoken in twice. This verse is spoken twice in Bhagavad Gita. That become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, become my attain my the spiritual nature, offer pranams to me. This instruction is repeated twice in the 700 shloka of Bhagavad Gita. There are 700 shlokas and this instruction comes twice. So Krishna will say that become my devotee, surrender unto me, offer obeisances unto me, etc. Unlike the so-called scholars, they do not say that Krishna and his inner spirit are different. So they will say that this is not Krishna speaking. This is someone else speaking on behalf of Krishna. So this is nonsense. Krishna Prabhupada says when Krishna directly says Man, Mana, Mad Bhakto, Madhyaji, why there is a twisted meaning to this? That's why scholarly people they twist the meanings of, and Sanskrit is such a language that one word can have many meanings also. So a person cannot say that this word is speaking about this thing only. Only acharyas who are in line of Krishna conscious culture, they can only actually truly comment on the scripture like Bhagavad Gita. We hope therefore that people will derive the greatest benefit by studying Bhagavad Gita as it is, as we have presented it here. And if even one man becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, we shall consider our attempt a success. So Prabhupada will be happy if at least a one person becomes a pure devotee of the Lord by reading these books of Prabhupada, which he has translated very hard, studying in the night and translating them. So it's our greatest joy that we are reading these books which have been written by Srila Prabhupada. This was the first book, very among the bigger books. This was the first book which was translated, and very other smaller books Prabhupada has written also. But this was the first theistic book which Prabhupada translated, and it had a wide distribution also all over ISKCON and all the cities. So Prabhupada wrote this book in 12th May 1971, Sydney, Australia. This introduction was written at that point. So there are 5 main topics of Gita. Ishvara, the supreme controller, the first topic which will be covered in Gita, the details of his qualities, Ishvara, what characteristic Ishwar has. And then second topic will be the Jiva, the controlled living entities. So there is one supreme controller and there are the controlled living entities who are Jivatmas, which we are. Omayevamsho Jivaloke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are the part and parcel of Supreme Lord who are controlled by the energies of the Lord and the modes of nature. Third one is Prakriti, the material nature. Fourth one is Kal, the eternal time. Kalo Asmi Bharatarshava, Krishna says in 11th chapter. Fifth one is Karma, activities which are under influence of the modes of nature and under the control and purview of eternal time. So activities which are performed, karma are the activities which are performed by the person, the Jivatma, under the modes. The activities which are performed by Ishvara are not under the control of Prakriti, or not under the control of time also. So activities which are performed by the Jivatmas under the material modes of nature and the influence of time, those are called karma. Out of these 5, which 5? Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma. Out of these 5, the Lord, Ishvara, the living entity is Jiva, the material nature, Prakriti, and the time are eternal subject matters. So these are eternal things. So we say that Supreme Lord is the eternal personality that can be accepted. Jivatma are the part and parcel of Supreme Lord. All the bodies die, but Jivatma never dies, the soul never dies. So that is also accepted as eternal. Although Jivatma comes under the modes of material nature, but the soul as per is eternal thing. Then Kal. Kal will be eternal because it's energy of the Lord which governs the entire cosmic creation. All the cosmic creation gets destroyed, but the time doesn't get destroyed. But how can Prakriti be? Some philosophers say that Prakriti can't be eternal. Prakriti can't be there for all the time. So some people argue like that. Prabhupada says the manifestation of Prakriti may be temporary. So we see trees get their life from the seed and they manifest, they bloom out, they give flowers, the fruits, and then someday after some years the tree die also. So they are temporary, but they are not false. You can see a tree also, you can see other objects of life also, all which are manifestations of Prakriti. They might be having a temporary nature, but when you go and to near to them, they have certain lives, although they are not moving. And there might be other matters also, which are manifested by Prakriti, which are movable or unmovable, but they have life. And some elements of Prakriti are there which don't have life. So they are manifesting temporary because we can see them for some time and they disappear after some time. But when you go close to them or when you understand their nature, that they are not false. They are manifesting only temporary for the time being, but they are not false in nature. So these are the 5 main topics of Gita. So Lord refers to this Prakriti. In Gita, you will see Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyate Sachara Achara. Krishna says that this my energy, my Prakriti. The Lord refers in Gita that this energy of which is acting everywhere is my energy, my Prakriti. So some philosophers say that the manifestation of material nature is false. Some people might say that Prakriti is false. But according to the philosophy of Bhagavad-Gītā or according to the philosophy of Vaishnavas, this is not so. The manifestation of the world is not accepted as false. It is accepted as temporary. It is accepted as real but temporary. So it is likened unto a cloud. So there might be some cloud in the sky which moves across the sky, and or coming of the rainy season. So during the rainy season, many clouds come which nourishes the different grains of the which a farmers grows. As soon as the rainy season is over, or as soon as the cloud goes away, all the crops which are nourished by the rain dry up. So the cloud comes, there are seeds, they grow, they nourish, and as soon as the rainy season is over, the cloud goes away and the crops which were nourished, they dry up. Similarly, this material manifestation takes place at a certain interval. So this example of cloud and the grains are given in such a way that this material nature is also like that they come, the material manifestation takes place for a certain interval, stays for a while, and then disappears. So such are the workings of Prakriti. But the common sense is that this cycle is working eternally. It's not like every rainy season we see how farmer grows, and after the rainy season is over, the farmer takes the whole crop which dries up after rainy season. So this circle is going on eternally. Similarly, the manifestation of material nature is also happening eternally. It goes in a cycle. Therefore, this Prakriti is eternal. It is not false. It manifests for some time, it disappears, stays for some time and disappears. So, but the cycle is going on regularly and eternally. So that's why Prakriti is eternal. We also personally take birth, we grow, then we die, and we are also part of Prakriti, but we are conscious Prakriti. There is another Prakriti which is not conscious. So, Lord therefore refers Prakriti as his own energy in Bhagavad-Gītā. But is Jiva and material nature same? We are also called Prakriti, and other objects of this world are also called Prakriti, which is material nature. So the Jiva Atma and the material nature are same or not? Both the living entity and the material nature are explained as Prakriti. If you are addressing someone else, you can also call him that you are a Prakriti of the Supreme Lord, you are energy of the Supreme Lord. And other objects of this life which are not moving, which doesn't have a consciousness, they are also Prakriti of the Lord. The difference comes only based on consciousness. Prakriti is not conscious, the Jivatma is there. The Jivatma is conscious. That is the only difference. We have a soul inside, and many of the objects like which are there, the after cutting of the tree, the wood is there, and other elements like iron and other things. These are also Prakriti only, but they don't have any consciousness. So that is the difference. Therefore, the Jiva Prakriti is called superior because the Jiva has consciousness which is similar to the Lord's. So, Jiva Prakriti is higher than the material nature because they have consciousness which is coming from the Lord only. So, the Jiva and the Supreme Lord is same or not? The Lord is supreme consciousness, and one should not claim that the Jiva, the living entity, is also supremely consciousness. We are minute consciousness. We are having minute part and parcel of Krishna. Lord is the supreme consciousness. So we can't compare ourselves with the Supreme Lord. We are different. So we have discussed three things. One is the Prakriti, which doesn't have consciousness. Another, we have discussed Jivatma, which has consciousness. But this Jivatma cannot be compared to the Supreme Consciousness because Supreme Consciousness is fully cognizant. As Bhagavatam first verse says, Swarat is fully independent, and the Jivatma is controlled by different energies of the Lord. If it comes under the Yogmaya potency, then it goes towards the Lord. If it comes under the Mahamaya potency, it goes towards the fallen situation of this world only. So in this way, there is a difference between Prakriti, Jiva, and the Supreme Lord. And Bhagavad-Gītā will actually teach us what is the correlation between these three things, these three items, Jivatma, Supreme Lord, and Prakriti. How a Jivatma can use this Prakriti in service of the Supreme Lord. That will be the essence of Bhagavad-Gītā. The Supreme Conscious Ishvara is similar to the living entity in this way. Both the consciousness of the Lord and that of the living entity are transcendental. So the soul which is there in the heart It's a conscious of the. It is a conscious thing which is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So both are same in nature, but not in the quantity. They might be having a similar quality of consciousness. One is minute and another is the supreme one. So quantity is different. What is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? Prabhupada says all the instructions of Bhagavad Gita are intended to awaken this pure consciousness, and therefore we find at the last stage of Gita's instructions that Krishna is asking Arjuna whether he is now in purified consciousness. In the last chapters of Gita, Krishna will actually say, Yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. Whatever you desire, you can perform your activity now. I have given this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to you. It's your decision now, whether you want to fight or not. And Arjuna says, Nashtamoha spritir labdha tat prasada. By your mercy, I have attained this knowledge of Gita. Now all my illusions are gone away. I will perform my duty. So some people say that Arjuna was provoked to perform this war. But this is not a provocation for war, but it is a proper, responsible duty of a person in a God conscious way. Arjuna fought that war because he was a Kshatriya, and Kshatriya has to fight in a war, but in a consciousness of Supreme Lord. So, similarly, we also have to perform our daily duties. Everywhere we go, we have to perform our duties, but with the consciousness of the Supreme Lord. That is the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita instructions are intended in this way. Purified consciousness means acting in accordance with the instructions of the Lord. So, one person who will truly, fully follow these instructions of Bhagavad Gita, he will have a purified consciousness. So, after he will be having a purified consciousness, then he will be able to act according to the instructions of the Lord. He will be understanding what instructions Krishna gave in Bhagavad Gita, what instruction he gave through his devotees in Bhagavatam. So in that purified consciousness, he will be acting accordingly. In this way, he will be uh, following the instructions of the Lord. And then he will go back to the Supreme Lord where he will personally serve him. So this is the whole sum and substance of purified consciousness, that a person has to act in accordance with the instructions of the Supreme Lord. So let us discuss some Gita Mahatmya before starting the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Any comments or question till now?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, if you can briefly explain about conscious prakriti, can we tell in that way ki when a human being who is in the knowledge or maybe little bit more advanced, when he can discriminate by his कि ये प्रकृति के ये गुण है, ऐसे काम करता है. So that in
You have
short,
asked a
with
question,
knowledge.
Prabhuji, you have asked a question which is the detail which we'll be studying in Bhagavad Gita course.
Okay.
Right now we are just starting. This question will
Okay.
be applicable when we'll be reaching a few chapters ahead. But definitely on a personal basis, this will actually come in the 13th chapter, three modes of material nature. So if we keep attending, many
Okay.
questions will be answered. I will suggest that we will ask some comments or question whatever we are discussing on the topic today.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Okay, but very nice question, because these questions are very much relevant to the Gita course. But when we'll be covering the topics, then these questions can be answered, and Krishna will personally answer also. I don't have to, as Prabhupada Gita is Bhagavad Gita
Okay.
as it
Okay.
is.
I'm having
So
patience.
answers will be given as it is only. Krishna will personally answer everything, whatever doubts we have. So let us discuss Gita Mahatmya. मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने सकृत् सकृद्गीतामृतं स्नानं samsara So I don't have to explain what is mala. Mala is the impurities in the heart. So one may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. Malanirmochanam jalasnanam dine dine. Every day we take bath. I hope every day we all take bath because some people outside they don't take bath every day. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad-Gītā, Sakrit Gita Amritam Snanam, if someday you get a conscious of lifting up the book Bhagavad-Gītā and you take bath even once, we take bath daily from the water, but if we take bath from the Ganges of this Bhagavad-Gītā, Samsara Malanashanam, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Daily reading is recommended. It's very nice if we can read 2-3 verses, few chapters or few verses and few pages of Gita. It's very nice if you have a habit of that reading. But even if once a person reads sincerely with a motive of understanding Krishna's material nature and the relationship between the jiva, then for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Gita Sugita Kartavya Kim Anya Shastra Vistarai Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padmad Vinishrita. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padmad Vinishrita. One need not read any other Vedic scripture. Kim Anya Shastra Vistarai. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice. Gita Sugita Karta, because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So before reading Bhagavatam in detail, if a person has to first be convinced about the superior nature of Supreme Lord Krishna. And Prabhupada, in one of in the beginning of this introduction only, Prabhupada says that at least before reading this book, Bhagavad Gita, you should theoretically understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And by end of this book, you should have full faith. The Supreme Lord is the Krishna only, who is actually maintaining the all living entities everywhere. And all Vishnu avatars and everyone is coming from Krishna only. And the details of these things will be presented in Bhagavatam. But Gita is enough for having for developing a firm faith that Supreme Lord is Krishna, who is speaking this knowledge. Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya. This has come from the lotus mount of Krishna only. When Krishna touched from his lotus feet, Ganges appeared and it flowed everywhere and purified all living entities. This Gita is a Amrit which has come from Supreme Lord mouth of Supreme Lord only, and this is like nectar for those people who are in relationship with the Supreme Lord. Bharat Amrita Sarvesham Vishnu Vaktrad Vinishritam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanma na Vidyate. A person will not get a birth again. One who drinks the water of the Ganges attains salvation. And salvation can be understood in outside terms as mukti, by dissolving our souls to merging our souls to the Brahman realization. That can be considered by some people. That can also be attained just by reading this Bhagavad Gita. But highest salvation is to go to that abode where Krishna resides and personally serve him there, with developing some relationship in different rasas with him. So that is the highest salvation. So what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? By drinking Ganges water daily, you might get salvation. But by reading Bhagavad Gita, you can attain much higher thing, which is going back to his abode. Bhagavad Gita, essential nectar of Mahabharata. So in the Bhagavatam, it is said that Mahabharata was spoken and written for this purpose only, that Gita can come up. The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita can be understood by everyone. So that was the reason why Mahabharata was entirely written and spoken. And this has been spoken by Krishna only. Vishnu Vaktrad Vinishritam Punar Janmana Vidyate. A person will not take birth again. Sarva Upanashido Gavo Dugdha Gopal Nandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gita Amritam Mahat. This Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad-Gītā, the essence of all Upanishads, Sarva Upanishado Gavo, is just like a cow. Gavo. Gavo means cow. So this Gita Upanishad, there are many Upanishads, and Gita is considered as the highest of all Upanishads, and it is considered as the essence of all Upanishads. And Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, Gopal Nandana, Dugdha Gopal Nandana. If all Upanishads are considered as, or Gita, Bhagavad Gita is considered as a cow, and Krishna is a cowherd boy. And what is the duty of a cowherd boy? To milk. Is milking this Bhagavad Gita, is Upanishad. And who is drinking this milk? Arjuna is just like a calf. Partho Vatsa. And who else is drinking and getting benefited? Are the learned scholars and the pure devotees. Sudhir are the pure devotees or learned scholars. They are the beneficiaries of this Amrita. So they are drinking this nectar of Bhagavad Gita. Dugdam Gita Amritam Mahat. This nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita has been drunk by Arjuna first, and then all other pure devotees who are also getting benefit out of it. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam Eko Devaki Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani Karma Pi Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. So in this present day, people are very much eager to have one scripture. Prabhupada says people are very much eager to have one scripture, one God, one religion, and one occupation. So this Gita Amrita, Gita Mahatmya speaks in this only. Let there be one Shastra. Let there be one scripture only. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. Whatever Geet has been spoken by the son of Devaki, let there be only that song only. Geet means a song. So Bhagavad-Gītā means the song which was sung by Krishna. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Let there be one God for the whole world, Sri Krishna. Eko Deva Devaki Putra Eva, the son of Devaki. Eko Mantras Tasya Namani Yani. Let there be one mantra to be chanted. And which is that mantra? Krishna's name, holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And what kind of activities one need to be performed? Karma pi ekam tasya devasya seva. Let there be service to that personality only. So let us chant his name. Let us work from him. Work from home. Work for him. And let us also read scripture which is spoken by him only. So in this way we have covered the Gita Mahatmya and the introduction of Gita. So we are going to the first chapter of Gita. Till now, any comments? Till now, whatever topic has been discussed till now. Any comments, or you want to share some realization? We can discuss now. Then we will take up first verse.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, currently the material world, whenever you talk about the philosophy, whenever you talk about Bhagavad-Gītā or this one, people are very much scared.
Okay. Scared of what?
Whenever you are reading Bhagavad-Gītā or you call the class and those things, they are very much scared.
Whenever you are speaking Bhagavad-Gītā or philosophy to someone, they are scared of.
If you call them, they are very scared to come and attend the classes or you are even taking the books.
Yeah.
Some kind of.
So you are asking a question why they are scared of? Why they are scared of coming to? Okay. Everyone understood Prabhuji's question? People are scared of when you are calling someone for Gita course or you are giving them a book. They are scared of taking these books. So can somebody tell why they are scared of? I will give some my comments. And can somebody also share?
Yeah, people know the potential or capacity of this book, and they don't want to leave their acquiring wealth or the modes. If we read this, and we may get spiritual touch also, so they don't want to leave that.
Yeah, nicely answered. Actually, people are scared of accepting Gita or accepting the life based on the teachings of Gita because they don't want to change. They don't want to change their patterns of life. They don't want to come to a path of bhakti. They don't want to shave their heads, join Hare Krishna temple. They don't want to accept. That's why there was a thing in the West when everybody started saying that Prabhupada is brainwashing everyone, because people were getting transformed because of this true knowledge. If truly somebody wants, like he is presenting the will of Krishna or desire of Krishna to everyone, transformation is guaranteed. And when people see that there are results of those transformations, some people get scared also that we don't want to transform our life like that. We want to practice bhakti in a this way, like it doesn't affect our material life, and we keep enjoying, and let us have some spiritual entertainments in our life. So in this way, people want to continue. Spirituality is not their integral part of life. It's just a बाहर का जैसे होता है कि it's like a outside thing. It's not their integral part of their daily practice of life, daily way of living. It's just some element of entertainment in their life. They will go to occasionally, like on the Janmashtami or some festival time, they will go to the temple, eat something there, come home thinking that they are religious. But transformation and changing the entire pattern of life, living according to what Gita says, becomes difficult for them. And even for those also who are practicing devotees, they also feel these waves of outside world sometimes affecting them. So what to speak of those people who are not accepting only? So sometimes practicing devotees also feel the pressure of these material world energies. And as Kali Yuga is progressing, the energies are increasing. So other people also become scared because they don't want to stop whatever they are doing in their personal life. They don't want to change their patterns and lifestyles. And Bhagavad Gita is a complete change of lifestyle only. You have to do a lot of adjustments in your current scenarios. That's why people become scared. They don't want to come near to devotee because he will change their life. I hope it answered, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
And there is a deeper satisfaction also when a person practices this philosophy. So that satisfaction can't be shown by external features. Like there will not be any change on the external feature of a body. Like a person can show that to someone that this is the thing which has happened to me. Person will remain normal, but the inner satisfaction he can't tell other also, because it's a personal thing for him. And there is a constant joy which is being experienced inside when a person practices this philosophy, because he directly connects with the Supreme Lord in the heart. So definitely Supreme Lord also reciprocates. So that reciprocation is you can't actually tell a neophyte or a person who is new to you that what satisfaction you are actually feeling. He will not able to understand and comprehend also. So that happens after practice, but not at the person who is coming as an initial stage. Okay, anyone
Hare
else
Krishna,
wants to
Prabhu.
say something? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, few days back, Radhesam Prabhuji was giving one lecture in which he explained how to present Bhagavad Gita or other the recommended scriptures. So he was telling one very good thing. I noted it down. So he was telling there are some initial or beginners to whom we can, as their mentality is started, so we can specifically tell those points of Gita which suits them or they can appreciate them. So likewise we can continue so that they will not be very scared, and they may little appreciate as like it work like a homeopathic medicine. It's slowly it will act, and when they will show little inclination to appreciate those subject matters, then we can
Yes.
even in Gita also we can move on to the advanced chapters, like
This
you know,
is
very
actually,
deep into the understanding.
yes, Prabhu, whatever you said is right. This, whatever you have shared, is actually one of the concept which is presented in Gita only. And that concept is also repeated twice in one of the Shreyan Sudharma Saguna. Whatever a person is engaged in his activities, a learned person, a wise person will not disturb him. He will just engage him whatever he is interested in. So that concept is there in Bhagavad-Gītā, and Krishna only says that a wise person should not disturb others who are actually engaged in some activity. He should try to incline those activities towards Krishna. Like a person wants to do kirtan only, he wants to distribute prasad only, he wants to do some activity which is like creating some something for Krishna. Whatever activity he is performing, he can dovetail that activity similar activity to Krishna. So in that way can be engaged. So let's go to the chapter. Anyone has some last comment, or we can go to the chapter 1.
Why Krishna has chosen Arjuna to speak Bhagavad Gita? Why not his brother, elder brother, chosen? Because he was more pious than the Arjuna.
Yeah, this will be answered in the 7th chapter. Bhakto asime sakha cheti rahasyam haye taduttamam. That I am speaking this knowledge to you because you are my devotee also and you are my friend also. So there are 5 brothers, Pandavas, but they were having different relationship with Krishna. Yudhishthira Maharaj was elder to Krishna, so he was having a very respectful nature towards Yudhishthira Maharaj. Bhima and Arjuna were having same age and they were having a friendship kind of nature. But Arjuna is more qualified because his bhakta also is very much dedicated, and like we can say in among 6 Goswamis also. There are 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, but Rupa Goswami understood the heart of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. So Rupa Goswami understood the heart of Lord Chaitanya. So we should not judge like that they are having different, this mentality of Goswami is higher than this, or this Pandav is higher than the Arjuna or not. But they are having different reciprocations and different dealings with Krishna in different rasas. But Arjuna was such a person who was very much on those lines where Krishna can very easily speak this knowledge to him. And other Pandavas were having different relationship. Nakul and Sahdev, they were junior to Krishna. They were not like friends. They were like Krishna was superior to them. So they used to offer obeisances in a respectful way. And Krishna used to offer obeisances to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So in this way, Arjuna was more inclined to hear this knowledge, and not inclined, but more compatible to hear that knowledge. Okay.
But why it's in the only battlefield this has spoken?
Pardon, Prabhu?
Why this Bhagavad Gita has to be spoken in the only in the battlefield? Why it cannot be outside?
Okay, why on the battlefield? Because the situation has to be created. Whether it's spoken on the battlefield or whether it's happening in your corporate life, situation has to be there for such answers. So bewilderment of Arjuna was done on such a situation when there is a life and death thing is there. So situation was created like that. Other circumstances, situation was not like that. And this was the situation when the whole life was awaited for this time to come. And then Arjuna was bewildered and the whole thing was turned up that he doesn't want to fight. So Krishna created the situation at that time so that Gita can be spoken. And it's the desire of Krishna. He can create these situations. And actually, the whole lifetime of Krishna is actually a Gita, because Gita has been spoken for 48 minutes, but the lessons can be learned from the entire lifespan of Krishna only. And when there was a time when Krishna was leaving from this world, he spoke this Uddhav Gita. And if you get chance to read Uddhav Gita, you will find that Gita, Bhagavad-Gītā has been just spoken in an elaborate way in Uddhav Gita. There are a lot of verses in Uddhav Gita which are actually getting into details of Bhagavad-Gītā verses. So there will be half or more than half of the Bhagavad-Gītā verse which Krishna will speak to Uddhav ji, and he will explain that verse. So Uddhav Gita is more of explanation of Bhagavad-Gītā. But Krishna spoke this Bhagavad-Gītā to Arjuna on that battlefield, and he created this situation so that the whole purpose of Mahabharata is to give this message of Gita, because people are inclined to hear stories, as Vyasadeva says, and in Vidura also says in Bhagavatam, that Mahabharata is full of stories and politics. So those people who are not inclined to hear direct knowledge of Gita, they are sometimes given this pill of Gita covered in a story form of Mahabharata, so that they can get some message and the essence of life, what they are living. So the situation was created in such a way that Gita can be spoken at the battlefield, and practice of this knowledge can be done on a day-to-day basis. It's not like on the battlefield only, but the bewilderment of living entity is happening day to day. So the same knowledge can be applied daily. But it was that circumstance that Krishna chose to speak Bhagavad-Gītā. Okay,
Okay, Prabhuji.
let's go ahead. Let's cover at least one verse today. It's already 7. So Bhagavad-Gītā chapter 1. So first Prabhupada explained what is the scene where we are here. The Pandavas and the Kauravas armies are there. They are opposite to each other and they're going to fight. And that time Arjuna asked some questions which will be covered in this first chapter. What questions they asked. Before that, a few verses are being spoken by Dhritarashtra and Sanjay. There is a conversation between Dhritarashtra and Sanjay. That is how the scene starts, and Sanjay will then, whatever, Sanjay was given a divine vision by Vyasadeva ji, by which he can see a Doordarshan, the first Doordarshan channel which Vidura got, which Sanjay got, that he can see the things which are happening far off in the Kurukshetra war. So this chapter is observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So the first section of this book, first chapter is first verse to 27th verse. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samavaita yutsava mamaka pandavaschaiva kim akurvata sanjaya. You people would like to recite? We will recite only twice because a lot of verses are there. So just 2 people can recite.
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुत्सवः मम का पाण्डवश्चैव किम कुर्वत संजय.
Okay, another one.
Kshetre Kurukshetre Samavetaयुत्सवः मम काः पाण्डवैश्चैव किं कुर्वत संजय.
So this is the verse which is being spoken by Dhritarashtra. O Sanjaya, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do, having gathered with the desire to fight at Kurukshetra, the place of Dharma? Dhritarashtra is asking this question to Sanjay, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu? So here is a discrimination he is doing. He is not considering the sons of Pandu to his own sons. There is a discrimination on part of Dhritarashtra. He is saying, these are my sons and these are Pandavas, and these are the sons of Pandu. Although Pandu has died a long time back, and he was only going to take care, Dhritarashtra is going to take care of the sons of Pandu, but on the battlefield he is discriminating. He is having a biased opinion that these are my sons and these are not my sons. If they have gathered on the battlefield, what with the desire to fight, Yuyutsava, at Kurukshetra, what did they do? This is actually not a proper question, because if a person has come to a place for a war, they will fight only. Why this question has been asked? So let us go into details. These are the points from some of the commentaries and purports. Samavaita Yuyutsava Kim Makurvata Sanjaya. If they have come with a desire to fight, what did they do there, O Sanjaya? What did my sons and the sons of Pandu gather together at Kurukshetra desiring to fight? What did they do? You have already said that they have gathered to fight, so they will certainly fight. What is your intention in asking again what did they did? This is a counter question. Why you are asking? They have come for fight, so they will fight. This is happening at Kurukshetra, a place of dharma. Please understand, this is happening at Kurukshetra. Dhritarashtra might say this is happening at Kurukshetra, which is a place of dharma. And many of the Shrutis, they say Kurukshetra is a place for sacrifice for the Devatas by those who are like the Devas. It is the abode of Brahman for all living entities. So Dhritarashtra was actually afraid whether the influence of this place, which is a place of dharma, might affect on the mindset of Kurus, and they might change, that fight will not happen and they might come back without fighting. So this was the concern of Dhritarashtra. From this we understand that it has become famous as a place of increasing dharma, Kurukshetra. Under its influence, will my sons give up their animosity and give the kingdom to the Pandavas? Will it happen that Kauravas will give the kingdom to the Pandavas under the influence of this place? Or will perhaps the Pandavas, who are very much followers of dharma, consider at this place of dharma that it is best to go to the forest out of fear of committing a dharma in the form of destruction of the family traditions by fighting? So two opinions Dhritarashtra is presenting. Whether the Kauravas, under the influence of Kurukshetra, which is the dharma place, give up their animosity and give the kingdom to the Pandavas, or it might happen that Pandavas come under the influence of this dharmic place and will consider that we should not fight, and they will go to the forest back from where they have come, and they will not perform any sinful activity of committing any like killing of other people. So they will not perform adharma of destruction of family traditions. So whether the fight actually is taking place or not, this is the question of Dhritarashtra. So Sanjay, by the mercy of Vyas, you have destroyed all attraction and repulsion within yourself. Therefore, you should speak the truth to me. Dhritarashtra is telling Sanjay, please speak the truth to me. What happened? Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. In the field of grains, the weeds look similar to the grain, but are obstacles to their growth, are eventually pulled out. So when there's a field and you have grown rice paddy there, so there will be many weeds which will also grow because water is there, sufficient water is there. So weeds will also grow. What the farmer does, farmer goes to the field and pulls out those weeds which are not necessary, and the grains will grow. So similarly, this place is Dharma Kshetra, and your sons are like the weeds which are grown on the Dharma Kshetra. So they will be pulled out. Similarly, at the field of dharma, your sons, who are but imitations of dharma and opposers of dharma, will also be destroyed. This is the unintentional hidden meaning of the word dharma kshetra, uttered by Dhritarashtra, by the grace of Saraswati. Saraswati came on the mouth of Dhritarashtra, and she is speaking that on the field of dharma, adharmic people and adharmic things will be pulled out. Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva. By not mentioning that the Pandavas were also his relatives and mentioning only his sons as his own, he revealed his hatred for them. When Dhritarashtra was speaking, my sons and the sons of Pandavas. So he is actually showing the hatred in his heart, that I am actually not in love with these Pandavas. And these my sons who are Kauravas, I am in love with them. I am only worried what happened to them, whether they will be getting kingdom or not. It is famous as a place which produces dharma. Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra will definitely produce dharma. Due to association with great place, the evil Duryodhana and the company may give up their anger and take to the path of dharma. This might happen. Or Dhritarashtra is thinking that due to association of this great place Kurukshetra, Duryodhana and company might give up their anger because of the influence of this dharmic place. The Pandavas are naturally following dharma. Then both sides would have intelligence to see that they should not kill their own relatives and friends, and would negotiate peace. Till now, so many peace negotiations have been cancelled. Till now, they have not accepted any negotiation. Krishna personally went and tried to give this offer to Duryodhana and party. And Krishna, who is Dharma personified, was not accepted and was not given any efforts were not put for this peace formula for his message. So then how can the influence of this place, which is Kurukshetra, can affect the mindset of Kauravas because they are so adharmic? And Krishna personally went and spoke that knowledge that please give up animosity and they give the rightful kingdom to Pandavas. Kauravas didn't accept it. But Dhritarashtra is hopeful at the place of and is thinking whether the mindset of these parties changed because of the influence of the place. Externally, he desired to show Sanjay. So this is the external thing that he desired, that he would be relieved if this were so. If the war didn't take place, if the Pandavas went back to forest and Kauravas returned back with their own kingdom. So externally, Dhritarashtra was thinking in this way, that's why he asked this question, whether the war took place or not. And internally, however, he found it hard to restrain his desperation. For if there were a reconciliation, then it would be difficult for his sons to gain the kingdom, because they have to provide something to Pandavas also, because that kingdom was a rightful share to them. If the war doesn't take place and the conclusion doesn't happen, then who will get the kingdom? They have to divide, and he will not get the full kingdom. As Bhishma, who is on other side, cannot be defeated by Arjuna. He was having faith that Bhishma is there in our side, and he can't be defeated by Arjuna. It is better that we fight. Let that happen. So that is also there. In one side, he is thinking externally that whether the fight happened or not. Internally, he was also thinking, oh, Bhishma is there in our side, and Arjuna will not be able to defeat Bhishma. So let them fight. They will only lose only. So it was not suitable, however, to show such desires externally. So there was a duplicit nature of Dhritarashtra, which is being highlighted here. Sanjay Uvacha Drishtva tu Pandavanīkam Yudham Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasamgamya Raja Vachanam Abraved. So seeing the area of the Pandavas' troops, Duryodhana approached his teacher Drona and spoke these words. So we will just taking few points in this and then we will continue next time. Acharyam Upasamgamya. The pious Sanjay could understand that Dhritarashtra, blind from birth, but having the eye of wisdom, was now blind with illusion because of the loss of wisdom concerning dharma. So when Dhritarashtra asked this question whether the fight took place or not, Sanjay could understand that he is acting externally. He is actually blind not by birth or he doesn't have eyes, but he is blind by wisdom also. He is not considering that this is the dharmic war, and dharma will prevail. Adharmic things will be wiped out. So he understood his duplicit nature, and then he's saying, he was thus worried that his son would give the kingdom to the Pandavas. Therefore, understanding this, Sanjay fixed in dharma, gave satisfaction to Dhritarashtra. Don't worry, by saying that his sons would certainly not give the kingdom to the Pandavas. See how Duryodhana is going to the Acharya for fighting. Duryodhana is approaching Dronacharya. Acharyam Upasamgamya. So he's telling Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra, don't worry, fight is going to happen and dharma will prevail. So this word Raja is mentioned in the verse Raja Vachanam Abravit. So Duryodhana, who is expert in political affairs or Rajniti, that's why he is addressed as Raja, although he was not a Raja. Raja was Dhritarashtra, and if we consider from dharmic point of view, Yudhishthira Maharaj was Raja. But because Duryodhana was expert in political affairs, that's why he is considered as, he is mentioned in this verse by Sanjay as Raja. So seeing the arrangements of the troops of the Pandavas, he personally approached the teacher Dronacharya, who had given instructions to him from Dhanurvedya and spoke some words. So Duryodhana is approaching Dronacharya, who has taught all the knowledge of Dhanurveda to everyone. So he's approaching and speaking now. He spoke a few brief words with deep import, a special combination of words, very tactically, because he's mentioned as Raja because he's very political. So he will speak also very politically. He had inner fear. Who had inner fear? Duryodhana had actually inner fear caused by seeing the strength of the Pandavas. So Duryodhana had actually fear in his heart. That's why he's saying, Vyudham Duryodhanastada. He saw the troops of the Pandavas and he was having internal fear, which is shown by his personally approaching Dronacharya. That's why he's going and speaking to someone who actually should be willing to now fight and do something with the strength of the Pandavas. Although the Pandava army was not so much, they were in less number only, but he was understanding that these Pandavas are very having a lot of strength because of the presence of Krishna and other members of the Pandavas. But he attempted to hide that fear by showing that he had come personally out of respect to Guru. So this is also like internally and externally. There the Dhritarashtra was showing, now the son of Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, is also hiding something internally and showing outside externally that he's coming to Dronacharya out of respect. But internally he was having a fear of the Pandavas troops. So we just covered 2 verses because there was an introduction today. So next time we will cover more verses. If somebody has some comments or question, we can take. Next time we will cover from here, 3rd verse. Anyone have some comments or questions?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, this.
Can you speak a little louder?
Yes, Prabhu. This Bhagavad-Gītā, personally Lord has spoken and it emanates from his lips and all. So is there any other thing which Lord has spoken directly apart from Bhagavad-Gītā?
See, Bhagavad-Gītā is a theistic science. It is a basic of philosophy. Like if a person wants to understand the Supreme Lord's nature, the relationship between Prakriti and the Jiva, so that kind of knowledge in elaboration is in Bhagavad-Gītā in the 11th canto, where Krishna speaks this Uddhav-Gītā to Uddhavji. There you can find the same thing, like Krishna has spoken personally from his mouth this philosophy. There also he personally speaks to Uddhavji. But there are a lot of other pastimes which Krishna has enacted and spoken philosophy here and there and given lot of messages in Srimad Bhagavatam, entire 10th canto about that. How the devotion to Supreme Lord is the highest thing, how gopis are the highest thing. Those are like more detailed to the, but Bhagavad-Gītā is like a basic and more elaboration of this basic thing is in Uddhav-Gītā. But there are many teachings which Krishna has given through different incarnations also. Whenever he comes as like Vara, Kurma and Narsim, he gives those teachings also. And but this Bhagavad-Gītā is like a very foundational work. It's like if a person understands this Bhagavad-Gītā nicely, then the foundation to understand other incarnations and the concept of Bhagavan becomes very easy from Bhagavatam scripture. Hare. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you so much for joining. We hope we will meet after 2 weeks. Next week is Gaur Purnima. Next week I'm not there. I'm traveling somewhere. We'll meet